What's up, everybody? Thanks as always for supporting the show. It would mean a lot to me if you would take a second to scroll down and hit that subscribe button to the Hoops Tonight YouTube channel, and then follow me on social media on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter so you guys don't miss any of our content over the course of this season. All right, let's talk some basketball. So this is going to be a little different than what we did the first time because I want to do power rankings every single week. And I'm just going to rip through them. We're not going to do long blurbs. We're just going to update the rankings with a quick read through of the 10 teams at the beginning of every week on Monday. So, and again, this is my power rankings are more regular season focused. The contender rankings, that's playoff focused. This is power rankings. We're just looking at who's playing the best basketball right now. Number 10, the Los Angeles Lakers, their first appearance in the power rankings this season. They have the 5th best net rating in the league since our last edition of power rankings 2 weeks ago today. They are also up to 9th in defensive rating on the season. Since November 10th, which was about 2.5 weeks ago, the Lakers have not lost a game unless it was on the tail end of a back-to-back, including quality wins over the Houston Rockets and then 2 quality wins on the road versus the Phoenix Suns and the Cleveland Cavaliers. They are coming into a couple of tough games right now. They have Philly tonight on the road, Detroit on the road, and then Oklahoma City on the road. If they can get back on that from that road trip at 3-1, which means if they can get one of the Philly OKC games, I think that's a huge win for the Lakers. My guess is that they lose to Philly tonight and then they beat Oklahoma City, who struggles against really big teams, which I think the Lakers will be able to inflict on them. Number 9, the Dallas Mavericks. We wanted to see how they'd fare against a tougher stretch of their schedule, and it hasn't gone well. They did have a nice win against the Lakers in LA, but they were on the tail end of a back-to-back, and it required a game winner from Kyrie late, and they lost 4 out of 6 overall. They got destroyed by the Clippers, destroyed by the Kings. They lost at home to the Bucks, and they got destroyed by New Orleans. But despite all of that, they still have the 9th best record in basketball, and they are the 4th best offense in the league right now. Number 8, the Oklahoma City Thunder. They're a really good team with one fatal flaw. They're too small on the front line to contend with huge physical teams. That said, they are 11-2 against teams that I don't consider to be particularly big on the front line. They've been dominant in basically every facet of the game except for the defensive rebounding piece and on the scoreboard against those particularly big teams. They are one of only 3 teams in the NBA right now that are top 10 in both offense and defense, though. The other 2 teams are ahead of them on this list. Number 7, the Philadelphia 76ers. A little bit of mixed results in this stretch of their schedule. All these teams that are in this section of the power rankings, it's been a mixed bag over the last couple of weeks, but all of them are playing tough stretches of their schedule and playing good teams. That's to be expected in a league this deep. But in this stretch for the Sixers, they beat the Thunder in Oklahoma City, they beat the Hawks in Atlanta, and they beat the Pacers. Impressive wins, but they also lost to Minnesota, lost to Cleveland, lost to Boston, and lost to Indiana in the in-season tournament game on the second night of that the 2-game and 3-night set. They are the 3rd best offense in the league right now, and the defense is starting to take some strides, and I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing from their big perimeter defenders. And then Tyrese Maxey obviously looks incredible. Number 6, the Denver Nuggets. They're just floating the ship right now with Jamal Murray out with injury, and they've faced a particularly tough part of their schedule in this recent stretch. They've been on a 5-game road trip where they went 1-4, again, mostly against good teams. All 4 of the losses against good teams, and again, without Jamal Murray, it's just tough to win those games. But still 11-6, still one of just 3 teams in the league that are top 10 in both offense and defense. It is the Thunder and the Nuggets, and then the Boston Celtics, who are further up on the list. They're still the defending champs, and Jamal Murray is on track to return very soon. In the NBA, the game can change in an instant, but no matter how the action unfolds, DraftKings Sportsbook has your back. This week, new customers can score $150 instantly in bonus bets just for betting $5 on basketball. Win or lose, you get an instant dub. They even have great same-game parlays. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code HOOPS. That's HOOPS. New customers can get $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on basketball. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code HOOPS. The crown is yours. Number 5, the Milwaukee Bucks. They're 7-1 since our last set of power rankings, but they're not playing great basketball right now. If you go through their last 10 games, they barely beat Portland, came back from down 24 in that game, barely beat Washington. Then they got soundly beat by Boston. Then they beat Washington, beat Dallas. That's a good win. Dallas is a good team. But then they beat Charlotte, bad team. Beat Toronto, bad team. Beat Chicago, bad team. Then they lost to Orlando and lost to Indiana, both good teams. So over the last 10 games, it's been a lot of bad teams and then basically 3 losses, 1-3 against the good teams that they faced over their last 10 games. That said, still 7-1 since our last rankings. And really just a fortunate team in the sense that they're not playing very good basketball right now on the defensive end, and they're still figuring some things out from a chemistry standpoint. But because the league kind of front-loaded their schedule with an easier stretch of games, that gives them time to figure things out. And then hopefully they'll have it together when they get to the tougher stretch of their schedule. And they have been one of the very best offenses in the league so far this season. Number 4, the Sacramento Kings. They've won 7 of their last 9 games. They're 9th in offense, 10th in defense over that span. They blew out the Wolves in Minnesota. They blew out the Mavs in Dallas. They blew out the Lakers in LA, and they beat the Cavs and Thunder at home. They have been probably the most impressive team other than Orlando over the course of the last 2 weeks. If we look just strictly within that 2-week window, they did have 2 road losses against New Orleans. Just had a hell of a time stopping Zion Williamson. They're just not really equipped on the front line to deal with him. Number 3, the Orlando Magic. They've won 7 in a row since their 5-5 start. They're 6-4 against winning teams, 4-1 against my top tier contenders. Again, like my top tier contenders were the Nuggets, the Celtics, the Bucks, the Lakers, the Suns, the Warriors, and now Minnesota have added to that list. And they've gone 4-1 in those games. Their one loss was to the Lakers, and they turned around and beat them revenge style at home. So they've been really, really impressive to start the season. They are also the only team in the league in the top 5 in both defense and rebounding. They have been the most physically imposing team in the league so far in the regular season. Number 2, the Minnesota Timberwolves. They took a bad loss at home to Sacramento, but Sacramento's done that to a few teams this year. Like I said, Sacramento's just been on this run where they're just kind of beating the shit out of good teams every once in a while. I think they've been running that bracket pick and roll that I've been talking about where they put De'Aaron Fox like 30 feet from the basket. 2 guys come up and set ball screens on either side, and like Harrison Barnes is usually in there as the guy who can pop and shoot, and it's just really freaking difficult to guard, and teams haven't really figured out how to stop it yet. But yeah, so the Timberwolves took a bad loss at home to Sacramento, but they've been the most impressive team in the West so far. They surrounded that Sacramento game by coming right back, and they won 3 games right before that against good teams. They beat Philly, they beat the Knicks, and they beat the Pelicans. And then after the loss to the Kings, they got back on track against Memphis. Like I said, most impressive team in the Western Conference so far this season. And then to me, the easy number 1 at this point is the Boston Celtics. They have the best record in the league. They have a league-leading 9 wins against teams that are 500 or better. They have the best net rating in basketball. They have, despite playing the second toughest schedule, I think they're a clear-cut number 1 at this point in the season.